Hello Internet, Xanos here, how you doing guys? Right, I thought today we would talk about remasters with the recent release of the Crash Bandicoot N.Sane Trilogy, which I still don't own yet, god damn it. I felt like talking about remasters, about the good ones and the pretty ugly ones. So let's go for this quiz again. I got 7 good examples of remasters and 7 bad examples of remasters. Let's start with the bad remasters. First of all, let's mention the Deadpool remaster. Now, nobody really asked for the Deadpool remaster, and I feel that the only reason the Deadpool remaster exists was purely to coincide with the release of the Deadpool film. Now, the game and the film have absolutely nothing in common. As far as I understand, the Deadpool game was okay. It was mediocre at best, and the combat wasn't the greatest. But it feels like they've rushed this game out to try and con people watching the film to go and buy the game also. So it's kind of a cheeky cash grab remaster there, which is kind of a recurring thing. Another bad example of a remaster is Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 was a complete change in direction. It was more action orientated, getting rid of the complete horror aspect of Resident Evil, and the game just wasn't very well received, and it feels like Capcom just wanted to force out Resident Evil game on the current generation of consoles, so it's not really a very well thought out or wanted remaster for that matter. Cell Damage HD. Now, I liked Cell Damage Overdrive on the PS2. I thought it was a fun game. The graphics were quirky, it was self-shaded, it looked cool, but it controlled like a bloody brick. It wasn't very good to play. I enjoyed playing it as a kid. Would I want to play it again? No. So why is there a remaster? Nobody asked for this remaster, and as a fan of the original game, I didn't even want to look at this remastered version, so let's move on quickly. The Assassin's Creed Ezio collection. I loved the Ezio storyline in Assassin's Creed. I thought that was the peak of the franchise for me. I really do believe that. The collection is here, however, not just for the bugs that Polygon reported on. It hasn't been a massive improvement over the original games, and there still seems to be a lot of the original bugs there. People glitching when they're trying to climb buildings. It just seems to be that they've tried to get this collection out there without a lot of thought and care into putting this collection together. So for that reason, it's on here because of the bugs lingering from the original games. The Halo Master Chief Collection. When it launched, the multiplayer was broken. The main reason they wanted this collection, the multiplayer was broken. Even though it's good value for money, the fact that it didn't work, it's got to go on the list. The next bundle or cash grab on this remastered list is the Prototype Biohazard bundle. Nobody asked for this. Nobody really wanted it. The games weren't the best games. They were okay, but they weren't very memorable. The worst thing about it is the fact that these games run worse on the modern hardware. The frame rate is terrible. It doesn't work. Considering it's on the new generation of hardware, it should work better, but it doesn't. And the last culprit on the worst remasters, in my opinion, has to be Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare, the actual visual improvements, gameplay improvements are good. The reason it is on this list is for the cash grab aspect. You could only get this game originally when you brought the deluxe version of Infinite Warfare. And even then, it wasn't a complete package. It had none of the map DLC. It was just the base game with no additional content. Now, the game is now actually coming to a standalone release, so I thought, okay, maybe this is good. They've listened to the fans, but even that feels like a dirty cash grab. The reason being, it is a full £40 and it doesn't include the additional map packs. I think that is a bit of a kick in the teeth. Originally, you could only get it with an inferior game. Now they have released as a standalone experience. It still does not contain the DLC. Remastered games are supposed to contain all the additional content, and this doesn't. I feel like this game is such a cash grab, especially since they've released it as a standalone game, but again, without the DLC, it feels like a massive cash grab and a kick in the teeth to all gamers out there. Okay, we're at the halfway point. Before we carry on any further, I want to ask you guys a question. First of all, can you press a like button in the next 3 seconds? 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll let you off. And the second question is, if you could have any game remastered, any game at all, what game would it be and why? and what improvements would you like to see added to the game? Let me know in the comments. Now let's carry on with the list. Let's move over to the examples of good remasters. The first one has to be Last of Us. This was a fantastic remaster. The main improvements were on the FPS and the resolution, but it makes a difference. It makes the game even more impressive than it already was. And the fact that that game came out towards of the PS3 lifespan, I think that deserved a remaster to the PS4. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Now there's so many different Zelda games I could have included. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, but I wanted to go for Wind Waker. I thought Wind Waker had the most improvements. Not only were the graphics improved slightly so they looked even better, but they improved some of the main core mechanics. The sailing was faster and easier, and most of all, they got rid of that annoying Triforce quest, making the game so much more enjoyable to play. And I want it on my Switch, please, Nintendo. So give it to me again, a remaster of a remaster, please. Super Mario 64 DS is another good example of a remaster by Nintendo. They added some new characters into the game, they added some extra styles, new power-ups, and some new mini-games, making it very worthwhile for you to pick up. If you had never before played Mario 64 and you were the younger generation, it was great playing it for the first time. If you had already played and completed Mario 64, it was great going back and playing those new characters and doing some new challenges and some new mini games and having new power-ups. Final Fantasy X HD is more of a personal one for me. I felt like a lot of time and care was taken to remaster this game. A lot of the character models have been greatly improved. Some of them are only very subtle differences, but they all look good. Facial animations were worked upon with new animations added in, and it also came with Final Fantasy X Part 2. So the visual improvements were worth it. For me, one of my favorite games, so I'm happy to have that game again. GTA 5 is another example of a really good remaster. You have quite a few improvements. You got a first-person mode, which really adds a whole new dynamic on the game. I completed on my 360, and I absolutely loved playing it again on my Xbox One in first-person mode. It adds a completely new dynamic to the game, and the game feels completely different, even though it's the exact same game. As well as first-person mode, there was improvement to the graphics of the game. There were some new missions, some new weapons, and most importantly, increased online player count, which was a really big seller to a lot of people transitioning over. Skyrim is on here as a good remaster, even though it is now becoming the cockroach of video games. That game is going to outlive all of us and all console generations. I think Skyrim is a good example of a remaster for what it added into the game. They could have easily just remastered the game and that was it. The introduction of mods on consoles is fantastic. For someone like me who would love to have a good gaming PC who can't afford one, I absolutely adore the fact that Bethesda have enabled mods for Skyrim. Also, I want to mention the Switch edition. At the time of recording, the edition is not yet released, but again, they could have easily just ported across the game to the Switch with no really additional new features. But the fact that they've added in amiibo support and motion controls, I think that is another reason for it being a good remaster. And of course, the last remaster on my list is the one that made me want to do this list, and the reason why I'm so annoyed that I don't have it is the Crash Bandicoot N.Sane Trilogy. This is a perfect example of how remasters should be done. You have greatly improved graphics. The game looks amazing. And most of all, it is all free games for a very decent price. It's currently $34.99 for the game, and that is an amazing price for free remastered games. The games look fantastic. All the reports are saying it plays really well. So you got to hand it to him. Well done for a fantastic remaster. So that was my list of remasters, 7 bad and 7 good. Were there any games in this list that I didn't include that you think should have been in here? Were there any other bad examples that I have not noticed? Are there any other good examples that you particularly like? What games would you like to see remastered in the near future? Well, let me know down below. Over here will be a video, over there will be another video, and as always guys, you can click above my face to subscribe to the channel. I was Zanos, and I will see you later guys.